So, as I was saying, some things about this form, for instance, this particular line of action, form action and method will be further explained in the course of us doing the back-end languages like the Python. So for now, we just need to know that there are other methods that are implemented in a form. And I was at the label. So the label is an indication of what you need to type in the form. For instance, when you see a form, they say enter your email or username. That is a label. So a label is that text that tells you what to type. Yes. So in this case, our label is for name. So write name can be full name or just the first name or just name. So it just depends on the kind of information we want to collect. So label is for name. Then we move on to the input. The input is actually the place where you enter that information. So the type of input is text. Reason being that your name is text, and then you can give an ID to it. Or you can say you want to make it a required field. Required field says you cannot submit that form without that particular information. Yes. So it is input type name, input type text. Then you can further say you need the name of the form, the field is also name like that. Then it's required. Then for us to break and go to the next line so that our form should be uniquely identifying the entries, we go to put the BR tag. BR stands for break. Can put even two of them. So this is to break and go to the new line. There, can take enter now. Go to the next level of a different input field, which is the email. So it's a label for email. The label is for email. And then what the user will see is email. So you see the email before you will be able to type your email address. So we have put the label, so let's put the input. The input type is not text, it's email. So when you put a different type of input, know that you will not receive the right field. For instance, if you take the input type for passport and you put text, it means that you'll be writing your passport, it will not be hiding itself. So input type is email. Then can further says the name is email, which is not even required. So we must not put that. We can put uh, say email is required, which means you cannot submit a form without email. And you can give a placeholder of, let's say, example at gmail.com, which is what the user will see. So let's give another placeholder up here for this input. It says enter username. So the placeholder is for a username. So that the user comes, you see the text that says enter your name. You don't need to ask again. You know that this place it requests your name. So go to the next, but before we go, let's add our break, line break here. which is the BR2, so that they break and separate. Then we go to the next, which is the field for password. So say label. Label is for password. Label is for password. So the user will see password as written here. So put the input field for the password, and the type is text. Please text. You must not put a name, but if you want to put a name, we can say write the password, and then you can say it's required because password must be, and placeholder. Enter your password if you must put placeholder. Enter your password like that. Yeah, and you can put your line break. Go to the next level. In this case, we want to put the gender field. Gender.
Recording in progress.
So I don't know if there's any comment because the people I'm with online, they are quiet.
Yes, let's say so that the concept this community program design
Continue. So we were at where the user will select the gender during the form creation or during login, which so the label for that, which is a label for radio. So radio is a kind of input type or it's a kind of form input type that enables you to check just one value at a time. If there are three things, you cannot choose two. You can only choose one. That is what a radio button does. If you have male, female, and others like we normally see online, you cannot say you are a male and a female at the same time when you are using button, this radio button. So you can always say you are male, and there's nothing like male and female. So our input type is radio, and the label is label for radio. That is why we are working with radio button as of now. So we can we'll put the option radio, we can give the different options. The first one is the male. The male. So the label is a label for gender. Label for gender, please. Label for gender. Then the input type is radio. Input type is radio. So our first option will be male. Our first option is a male. Then we have the next input, which is still radio. Then it's female. Next input will be there's order, so don't know the orders. Let's put the orders. And then we can break. I'll move on to the next label, which is maybe label. They will say city. Label for city. What the user will say is actually city. Then anyway, cities are too narrow, so are too wide. Let's put countries. Say country. Put country. So in this case, we put a select since there are so many countries to select in this case. So the label is for country, then they select, take the name country. Then inside that select, we'll put the different options that are meant to be selected. So say options. So the very first option, they say is Cameroon. The user will see it at the very beginning. And then we can copy this line, paste, change just the countries, the naming, paste. space. Country Nigeria, just then Ghana. So different countries, you can just list them according to countries that, let's say, it's an employment form, the countries that you're ready to employ from workers from. I have all of them at the list like that. So that is just an example, sample of countries. Okay, next to that, we break. If our line break twice to create a lot of space. And we move on to other part or other aspect of the form, which is like the hobbies. We want to know the employee's hobbies. Take level. So what is level for? We say level is for the hobbies. Then we move down to the input type. So input type, in this case, we want the levels, the hobbies to be checkboxes so that you can have, since you can have as many hobbies as possible. So we say the type is checkbox.
Yeah.
So let's say employee can like reading,
Yes. Yeah.
can like reading.
Yes.
An employee can maybe
Actually,
like traveling, cooking. Those are all things that employees can
yeah,
enjoy
that's
doing.
why I said
So
you
those are all
book the
hobbies.
demo account and test the features that you requested. Once they're okay,
Then
then we can now onboard directly to create now the company-wide system. So it's good that you test it because you know you're doing the accounting at times it's challenging.
so the next we can go to where you have their message. For instance, they may be requesting for about you information that tell us about yourself. Those are the kind of things that they normally have in those forms. So we have a label for that. Then in that level, you have the message. The label is for a message. Then what the user will see is actually the word message. It's a message about you, so it's not like more the message alone. It's a message about you. Then the input type or the input type for message in HTML is text area. So you choose the input type is text area where which is the environment where you enter your message. So you can determine the size using the columns that you want 30 columns or you want above. You want above, you can say 50 and 50 rows so that the space for your message will be large. Then with the placeholder saying write something about you to see it there. Then the next you break. break the line, go to the next line. And then if you want to specify down to cities, you can still give a label and then you choose cities. Else, you can still submit your form. Then to submit, you just need to have a button. In this case, the button is of type submit. So it's a submit button. That. So that is what the user will see in order to click. Now, after you have done all this, let's say you want to verify whether it's working or not. So how do you verify that? You come, click on this. For those who don't know how to get to this, you come here. If you want to have this running your machine, this button down here, you come to this, click here, come here, search for live saver like that. So since I've already installed my own, that's why I don't have the installed option. I'm having by this. So if you have not installed yours, you just click on install. You will see install here, click on install, and then they install it. You will have this option. So it's good. When you have the live server installed, it makes the whole testing easy for whatever you have done here. To test it, you just click on this button. And then they open the system in this port number. So they have opened it there, and then if I should show you how it looks. So this is actually the output of what we have done. So it's a form that contains an input field for name. Let's say enter your name, enter your email, then enter your password, whatever your password is, enter it there. So we have a problem with password because our password is not supposed to show the characters that we are typing. So in that case, what we need to do with respect to password is to go to the password input field and check because the type is supposed to be password, not text. The type is supposed to be password, not text. We check our password input field, you see that the type is text. That's why our password is visible. So we change it to password. So when you have it as password, when you are typing your password, nobody can see it. As you see, you can only see it by clicking on this icon to view. You don't click to view, then the password remain hidden, given to you. The next is a radio button, which is the button to show us which gender. So it's for gender, as I said. So either you are female, you are male or female. So let's check radio button. You cannot be male and female at the same time. So what happened? Let's go back. So this is where we have our radio button. We have our radio button here. So since we said radio buttons does not permit multiple entries, so what happens in this case is that our label for radio button is good. So let's add a line break to it. One single line break. Then come here Instead of type others, the type should be radio. So you can remove all this, then we are set to go. So this is basically how the radio button is supposed to be structured, even if this is not there. All the names are not there, but we know that it's a radio button for gender and the type is radio, which is the most important thing. Yes. So with that, our radio button now is set. We check our output. You see that in the radio button, you can either be male, female, or others. You cannot be male, female, and others at the same time. Though we come down to our select, click on the select, you can select from which country you belong. Then in our hobbies, we have the different hobbies, reading, traveling, cooking, swimming. So they are all listed here. And hobbies uses checkboxes. So you can select as many as possible. You can even fall in the category of all and more, which is what checkbox, that's the difference between checkboxes and radio buttons. That's where checkboxes and radio buttons have their difference. So after that, we have label for message. Then you can add a break so that our label for message says about a message about you or enter a message about you. So I did not mention something which is the aspect of placeholder. So when you look at the form input, you see enter your name. That is what they call placeholder. And example email, enter your password. Those are placeholders. Write something about you. There's a placeholder. So we have this environment where you can type in things about yourself like that. That is to enter something about you. And the last below is the submit. So since we were specifying giving required, the required that we are writing is basically meant to restrict you submitting the form without all the data present or all the input fields needs to be filled before you can submit. So when you put that required, it ensures that you don't submit an empty form or you don't submit without a particular entry. That's why when I click submit, they say, please fill out this form. So even if I put my name, since I did not put my password, if I submit, they still mention, they take me to password and say I should put password. So even if I put password, then that's where they take me now to this. This hash is what we gave in the form action, that the action to the form should just produce a hash. So that's why we have this hash. Mhm. So we can still say in the form action, the one that should take you to another page, then they will take you to another page. But basically, this is how a form is presented. Yes, the form presents itself like this, where the user can fill in all this information, select male, female, you choose, country, you choose, hobbies, you select, then message about you, you enter your message, and then you submit your form. That's how it works in HTML. So as it looks like this, since we are still dealing with HTML, no mention go into CSS. That's why we have our form standing in this nature. So there are so many things that you may find in forms online. For instance, if you are answering questionnaires, you see different kind of input for forms based on the kind of requirements. But they are all possible with HTML. As I said, this is just a basic form. There are more complex forms than this. So the next in our list will be the semantic HTML, semantic tags and layout of an HTML document. Semantic tag and layout gives you the structure that helps you to be able to maintain first the search engine optimization. If you follow the principles of semantic, the right content will have its right position at all times in your web page, and fetching it will be easy to work. Somebody searching will be easily identifying the content according to his search. So the principles of semantic tag and layout says all the most important content enters the header. The next most important comes in as maybe the navigation. The second or the third after navigation should be the main, which is the body. And then the next, inside the body, you'll see sections. Then after the sections, you see article, which is inside the main. And all this is found inside the body of your HTML document. So outside the main, you will see a site. A site is like content that stands aside your page, and then it's like what we call a table of content in a document, where you can click on a chapter and then your book in a Microsoft Word document, you click on a chapter, they take you to the chapter. So the last is always the footer. So we'll see how that can be done in the next example. Now that we want to see, we'll see how that can be done. So to proceed, create a new file, call it semantic tag, put underscore tag dot html. And I create a structure and say semantic tag. So as I said, everything about semantic tag and layout in HTML, the first importance about the whole concept is that it gives the proper structure of an HTML document that will make searching online when the system is live very accessible. Yes. So in this case, I'll be using comments to quickly identify whatsoever I'm doing. So the first comment is the header. Header. So the header tag is what I'm about to write, which is the very first tag under semantic layout. So the header. So in this case, I'll just give an example. Let's say my website, which is an H1. Heading 1, I say my website. my website and I give a paragraph. I say in my paragraph, I say I'm learning semantic tags and layout in HTML. Semantic tags and layout in HTML. So this structure of you using header inside the body next follows with the nav. The nav is like the navigation bar. So you say nav. So nav tag, which is this. Then in the nav now, you can decide to create a list or you can just say I want to create anchor tags. But if I want to create a list, I can create an ordered list of elements like that. So the all what is listed here are files that I've already created in my system, like the form.html, this. So I'm linking back resources found in my own system as my own navigation bar, linking back even to the page that I just created, tables and forms. So that is another step. Next, I go to main. So before I close this, let me quickly comment so that each step shows what I'm doing. So this is for navigation. This is for the main, like the main content of the website, the body, the main content stands here. So inside that main content, the next comes the section. See the section. Yeah, in that section now, you read in your section tab. So what can give an example? Let's say H2 and we give a section like say learning semantics, learning semantic tag. A paragraph now to just describe anything. So since this just example, just keep any random. This section explain the importance of semantic tag. Then we move on. So after the section, is the next under semantic in the main will be article. That's the second thing that is found as semantic practices concern is the article, which is found in the main. We say article. So in the article, you can give another H2, heading 2. Then we say understanding, understanding articles in understanding articles in the main using semantic practice. Using semantic practice. Then you can go on and give a random paragraph that describes whatever we have done. Then we close our article. Then we go out of main tag. So when we are out of main tag, the last tag is the footer. For semantics, the last tag is the footer. Then in the footer now we bring in the footer tag. Footer is the last section of the web page, which most of the times describes the no before the footer. Semantic practice. Before the footer, we have the aside. Aside. We have aside. So in this case, I can just give some random examples like HTML element, navigation element, the main element, and I just give one random link, which is a Mozilla link. So I use that as an aside. So aside is like navigation. And another navigation bar was standing by the side, as I mentioned, the table of content where you click and then they take you to where the content is found in a particular text. That's a similar context of aside. So the aside tag gives you related links. Like if you go to an article site, you have links for most visited articles. So we comment so that we get to know exactly what which section represents. So the next in our list is the footer, which is the last in the semantic practice. Then in the footer, you can start by bringing in a paragraph and then you bring the copyright icon. So that copyright icon, you press ampersand, the right copy. Ampersand copy. Choose this, say 2026. Can say my website, website, add first links, .com. That will be all. So with this practice, first advantage, content will be easily fetched, pages load fast, visitors that visit in search of resources are presented quick. That's the first important, that's the most important practice of reason why semantic practice is important in HTML. So if you make use of semantic practice, you should be a very good developer as front end is concerned with respect to resource. So we have it like this because we have not styled it. So the first is our header. So this is our H1, we said my website, and the subheading that says learning semantic tags and layout in HTML. So we have our small navigation bar. If I click here, they take me to this page. Can go back. If I click here, so this page is our first class where we study text formatting. We see how you can write mathematical formulas in HTML. See how you can underline text, bold things. So this was our first class. You see how you can do abbreviation, you over things, and then they give you the full meaning. Then if I click here, take me to this class of today, which was the forms. I click here, they take me to the tables class. Click here, they take me to this current page, which is the semantic. So That is how it's done. Then this section explains, so this is some text again that explains what in the section for in the body, the section in the body that explains that give us the importance of search engine. So the body structured in the sections, the article, and the aside enables content to be fetched fast. Yes, enable content to be fetch fast from search. So this is currently what you have in your footer when you are done. And the cease symbol is what we wrote down as the copyright. Yes. So that's how semantic practice is done in HTML. And the best of it is that you need to have the code commented out so that when next you visit, you don't have to be asking yourself, what does this section do? What does this section do? So after all these HTML files that we are creating and we are done, we'll come back and use the same files to practice CSS so that we style them in the right way that they're supposed to be. You understand how HTML and CSS relate. And then we'll use the same files with JavaScript to see how submitting forms, creating tables that receive data dynamically using JavaScript are done so that you can best understand the three languages that are key to front end as web is concerned. So this structure is the most approved when it comes to search engine optimization practice. You follow the header, the nav, the main, which contain all this. Inside the main, you have the sections, you have the articles. So you must not bring in articles if you are not building a system that require articles. But if they are, then that is the position that articles will belong, should be structured like that. And then from there you have the aside, and then finally the footer, and everything is found inside HTML document. Okay, so that will be it for the class of today. And the quietness, even though people keep texting, I don't know whether the texting means you are not getting me, but people say they get me. I don't know if there's no question, then we call it a day. And you will have the video in the platform so that you can go through again and understand what we have done.